I'm Hans Dietrich Genscher of the Western Republic of Germany.
I am Cleopatra.
I am Cardinal Joseph of the Holy Office.
I am John Schermerhorn.
I am Sextus Pompey.
My ultimate goal was to regain the Ptolemaic Empire at any cost.
One of the issues that I had to deal with in the game is we were at the 1984 Helsinki Environmental Conference in Europe, and I wanted to make sure that Germany had exactly what we needed. We wanted to make sure that we could keep our economic future secure, but at the same time make sure that we could have a presence in the environmental issues. Not necessarily solve them, but make sure that we could participate in some way.
Recently, I've been involved in the discussion over whether or not to declare Galileo's writings heretical.
As the U.S. Commissioner, I report to Andrew Jackson, and the issue that I am concerned about is the removal of the Cherokee Indians from Georgia to the west.
I'm the youngest son of Pompey the Great, the late Pompey the Great. I am exiled in Spain with my legions, and I'm looking to get back to Rome, become a vital part of society again.
I was surprised by how much I had to read to get into this role, but once you got into it, I read all kinds of things about environmental issues that I would never have dreamed of picking up before the game. I read things like Hans Dietrich Genscher's actual speeches about environmentalism and what that meant to Germany at the time, and especially when you're thinking back into the 1980s when these issues were just coming up, reading about some of the historical ideas about environmentalism that were going on at the time were just really important and critical to being able to play the game and really understand the issues that were going on.
Recently, I precepted twice for the Rome game, and that involves a great familiarity with the Aeneid and also Cicero's various speeches.
In this game, we read several historical documents. Many of them were speeches, direct texts from, for example, Andrew Jackson and other political leaders, as well as leaders within the Cherokee Nation at the time.
When examining sources, I focused on Plutarch because he has some of the most unbiased sources, in my opinion, about Cleopatra, whereas Suetonius tends to deal with a lot of rumor and just about the Eastern stereotypes of Cleopatra. Plutarch deals with her intelligence and why she was able to rule Egypt the way she did. I love precepting. Ever since I started doing it, I've wanted to do it every single semester. I think it's really amazing to watch students who come into a class with absolutely no interest in this historical time period and watch them just learn to love that period and learn to love the character that they are, and see like biology majors go and start researching 1917 Greenwich Village or the fall of the Roman Republic, and watch them win the game. And and you also get to watch this great community building in this class that you don't see in other classrooms. And Reacting does that, and that's why I like precepting through Reacting.
I was a preceptor for the Athens game, and we used it in a theatrical context. So I had a lot of actors in the group. And so one of the fun parts about being a preceptor was watching all of these actors getting very excited about their roles and participating fully and coming in togas and doing the ritual at the beginning of every day. They got very into the playing of the roles. But then the beautiful thing was that subversively, they were also having to figure out what their role was. And so they would have these great moments of coming up to me and saying, well, what should I read? What do you think would work for this role? And where do you think I should go here? And can I play this particular thing? And if so, if I'm going to play this particular idea, I'm going to need to figure that out. Where should I go for research? And so rather than just being a TA and being the person who graded their papers, I became the one they could come to and really say, well, I need help and I want to go research this. And I got to help their curiosity grow. And that was really fantastic as a preceptor.
As a preceptor, it was a wonderful experience to kind of see the behind the scenes. When you're in the game, you can become so consumed by the character that it's hard to really take in everything that's going on in the other factions. You often, as a character, you get really one-sided, but as a preceptor, seeing the interactions with the students and just the engagement that happens in the classroom as far as just a teaching strategy is incredible. Students who never were talking in class before were offering up suggestions and really jumping into discussions and got really passionate, and the attendance in class was consistent every week. It was really, really a wonderful experience.
I came in intending to study journalism, and I took a Greek culture class. I'd had Latin in high school, but I hadn't had it in my freshman year, and I took a Greek culture class, and we were playing the Greek game, the Athens game, and I just absolutely fell in love with it. And after that class, where I met my former roommate, my current roommate, I'm a bridesmaid in one of my friend's weddings who I met through that game, it just sort of settled on me that I needed to study classics. I loved everything about classics, and it all started because of reacting.
Reacting for me, one of the most important things about reacting is that it actually produces curiosity. And that's something that you cannot place a price on. If you have a student in the class and they know that you have a worksheet with 10 questions, and if they fill out those questions, they get an A, you're not going to ever have them be wondering about the issues behind those questions on that worksheet. You're just going to have them knowing information. When you have a student who's really curious, who wants to know more, who says, this is just so interesting, how does this work with history, and how does this work with sociology, and how does this work with psychology, it really develops a true lifelong student, not just someone who's going to do well in a class or in a game, but someone who really is going to look for other ways of finding out information in their own area of study, in other areas of study, and really benefit the entire world, I think, in the end.
Being involved in reacting to the past has been one of the greatest experiences for me in college thus far. Not only the engagement in the classroom and really taking learning kind of to a deeper level, because you get this intense identity with the issue that is at hand by taking on this character and really diving in to it, but also with the professors, I feel, that have that put on these reacting games, because in my experience, I've developed a wonderful relationship with this professor, and they have served as kind of a mentor for me. Even though they're not particularly in my course of study, it's been wonderful to develop that relationship with the professor, and then also with an area of study. For example, Native American issues were never something that I even was interested in the past, but after reacting and playing the Cherokee removal of red clay at 1835, my eyes were open to this whole era in our history that I feel that is really glossed over, and now it's something that I definitely want to pursue in the future.
If you're looking at a reacting game and you're thinking to yourself, this is a lot of work, I just don't know if it's going to be worth it. Everyone's going to feel that way when you first start a reacting game. It is a lot of work. The results in the end are completely worth it. So if you're kind of thinking about it, kind of leaning towards it, go ahead and take the plunge. Give it a try. The work will begin to work itself out in the end, and the benefits are what's going to keep you coming back to reacting games.
What I really enjoyed about playing the reacting game is the intimate connection you get with your character, and it no longer feels like a homework assignment to do the research. It feels like a personal endeavor to represent them well and to represent yourself well. And you get to have fun with the other students, too, in the groups and in your factions. So it's all around not just a great time, but you don't even realize how much you're learning while you're doing it.
I think reacting is hands down, one of the best teaching tools you can use in a classroom. And I think it's proven that students who come in and don't seem to really care about the class, they're just doing it to get an elective, come out of it absolutely loving it and loving the topic. And I don't think you can say that about a lot of educational experiences on campus.